Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Health Talk. I am Peter Christian. Joining us here in the studio is Ange Anderson, and by necessity, I bet you're kind of a brand new employee there, aren't you?
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about Ange Anderson. First of all, allow me to say you're the family and birth educator at St. Patrick Hospital. What a fun job.
Yes, that's right. I came on in June. I'm a certified childbirth educator through the International Childbirth Education Association. And I've been teaching childbirth, breastfeeding, newborn care, postpartum health and healing classes for a few years in the community. I came on to St. Pat's in June.
Now, those of us who are uneducated, brutish males, okay, will probably say, well, why did a woman need to have a class to learn what comes natural? You know, I mean, so it's a silly question, but obviously it's out there. So,
sure.
So why are there classes to teach women how to have babies that they've had since the beginning of time?
Sure. Yes, it is a very natural process, and it can also be quite an intense one. And what we find is women who go through the process of learning what to expect, what's going to happen to their body, what the baby is doing throughout the process, that they can really get involved and engaged in the process in a healthy way and tend to have a more positive experience of childbirth. And a childbirth education class does a lot more than talk about just labor. We talk about what to expect after the baby comes in those first few weeks of postpartum healing. That can also be a really incredible but an intense experience.
I remember having, my wife and I have two children, and after my son Luke was born, he was our oldest. And so we have him all wrapped up and ready to go home, and I'm waiting, where's the book?
Right.
Where's the instruction book? I don't know. I have the faintest idea what to do when I get this kid home. I mean, I'm supposed to automatically know. So
Sure.
how do you guys help with that?
Sure. Well, just telling you a little bit more about what to expect and to help couples start to have those really important conversations about what that time is going to be like. You, for the mom, she's gone through one of the most incredible but intense and taxing physical, mental, emotional experiences of her life. Her hormones are fluctuating. Neither parent is getting very much sleep, and they're in charge of caring for this new baby and redefining themselves, redefining the relationship. So starting to have those conversations before the baby comes about what that might be like and how to support each other, really important.
No, isn't that why God created grandmas? to come and visit and say, okay, here's what I did with you, and my mom did with me, and da da da.
Sure,
but sometimes that's not available, right?
Yes, if you aren't living close to family. But also, what's really interesting is right after a baby is born, you do tend to get a lot of support from your friends, from your family, and then about 4 to 6 weeks in, the support, the excitement kind of goes away a little bit, and then all of a sudden that sleep deprivation kicks in a little more, and you're a little more solo. And that's where I find couples start to have a little more of a challenging go.
Okay, you're done now. Okay,
we're done bringing the meals.
Right,
we're
exactly.
done.
It's time for you to be a multifunctional mommy, basically.
Right.
Now,
Right.
So in your classes, first of all, where are they held, and how much do they cost?
Sure. The classes are held right at St. Patrick Hospital for women and couples that are going to be delivering at St. Patrick. All of the classes are free.
Yay.
Yeah. And but they are open to anybody in the community who would like to attend. Very affordable. The childbirth preparation classes are $65, and the breastfeeding and the newborn care classes are $35.
Well, that's very inexpensive.
Very inexpensive.
This is great. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So what do you enjoy most about it? I realize that, gosh, you get into this business for a reason. You obviously have a passion for it. So what do you enjoy most about it?
Well, I think that pregnancy and preparing for birth is just one of the most incredible times in your life. And it's one of the most intentional times in your life where you're really thinking about what's happening to your body and what's going to be happening, and thinking about creating a family. And I love playing even a small part in that time for people and helping to facilitate initiate some of those conversations, helping to answer questions that they have. There's great information out there. There's conflicting and poor information out there. So I really like being able to clarify, to answer questions, to help. I love when couples come to classes together and help them initiate some of those conversations at home about how to make this the experience that they want it to be.
Now, you and I and John were talking about the different methods that are available for childbirth. There's Lamaze, there's Bradley. I mean, do you have a specific method that you teach, or do you go with whatever the couple wants to use?
We do a very global approach. What I have found in working with women personally is that there is not this magic technique that makes labor easy.
Right. Just click your heels together 3 times.
Right. So, but there are different approaches. There are different techniques that help you to cope through labor and through birth. And part of the trick is finding the one that's right for you. And so in our class, what we do is we go through all of the main styles of breathing and relaxation and help couples to hone in on what their natural coping tendencies and styles are and how to work with that in a way that's going to help them in labor and birth and help them develop skills that will work for them personally.
Okay, we're going to take a little break here. If you have a question for Ange Anderson, she's the Family and Birth Educator at St. Patrick Hospital, and I know you do. Just give us a call. John will be happy to take your question. We'll pass it along to Ange, and she'll answer it for you. 721-1290 is our number. We'll take a quick commercial timeout, and we will come right back after this break here on Health Talk, sponsored by Providence Health and Services. And we're back on Talk Back, and it's Health Talk, sponsored by Providence Health and Services, Western Montana. I'm Peter Christian, joining us here in studio along with John King. Ange Anderson, Family and Birth Educator at St. Patrick Hospital's Family Maternity Center. Now, the center's been open since, August 3rd? And how have we been doing so far?
We just hit 60 babies, so doing fantastic.
Wow,
yes.
It's amazing. So obviously very, very popular.
Very popular.
That's great. So is it keeping you busy then for the...
The classes have been very busy.
Good.
Yes, well attended and going well. We just we do both a 6-week series and 1-day Saturday classes. We just finished our first 6-week series and Saturday classes once a month. Going well.
Let's talk about dads for a minute here, okay?
Sure.
Because a part of this, it involves obviously the husband or the partner. They come in, and what kind of thing, how do you involve them in what's happening here?
Yeah, in class, what we do, we really encourage the partners to come. We hope that they come. Giving them an idea of what to expect in labor and birth, really good idea too. And giving... You don't give pacing lessons, do you, outside? No, we want them in there.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, knowing what to expect, what their partners are going to be experiencing somewhat, how to support, that's a really important conversation. How do the dads see themselves involved in the process? How do the women see their partners involved in the process and making sure they're on the same page? Dad's learning ways that they can support throughout labor and birth. Dad's learning what to expect when they come home, both in her recovery and also in caring for the baby. It can be such a bonding time for couples to have this space that they come together and that they work together and they have these conversations together. And I find that it really helps build dad's confidence. At the end of the classes, it's often the dads that share how excited they are, how much they've learned.
Well, it's all about becoming a family, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you have the couple, and of course you have all that goes with that. But then when the baby comes along, you become a family. It's kind of a, if you will, kind of a spiritual, almost a magical type of situation where you used to be two individuals, and now you're like a family. And it's got to be really inspirational to be a part of that. It really is. And, once that baby comes, you are now a mom or you are now a dad, and you've never been that before. Your identity changes forever. Everything changes, and it's an incredible time, and it's a time you need support and you need good information to work through that in a healthy way.
One of the things that was difficult for me as a dad going into the process is it's information overload.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the birth experience is going to be like.
Sure.
And now that I'm on the other side of having 3 children, I look back and I say, the recovery process was so different when my wife had a C-section. And it
Right.
was very different from when my wife had a VBAC. It was very different each time. And I guess my question for you is, do you train or discuss with the families individually about, how the birth is going to go and what to expect on the other side of it as far as the different types of birth that are available?
Yes, definitely. And you're right. The recovery from a cesarean birth versus a vaginal birth, very different. And different recovery, different needs afterwards. I really enjoy our 6-week class. And the idea of the 6-week class is that each evening we cover a topic. And then you get to go home and really process that and come back the next week. So it's not so much information overload. And one of the topics we cover in that 6-week series is just postpartum recovery and what to expect. And exactly, there are different ways that birth can go. And depending on how it goes will very much influence what your recovery period is going to be like.
Now, one of the classes you teach is lactation, right? And a lot of people don't think of this as being a deal. If your mother had easy milk and you had children, it was never an issue. But for our family, that was by far the most stressful thing of any of our birth experiences, was not being able to produce milk and being trapped. My wife literally felt like she wasn't performing her duties as a mother.
Yeah.
So, if you've never had a child before, this could happen to you. And I will tell you, it was, at least for me, the most stressful thing. So tell us a little bit about that process.
Sure. Some moms and babies get going with breastfeeding without a hitch. And for lots of moms and lots of babies, there is a learning curve. And what we find is that those first few days, and the research has showed that in the first few days of breastfeeding, how easily that goes, how well that goes, how positive of an experience that is, influences how long a mom and a baby can long-term successfully breastfeed. So we really encourage people to take a breastfeeding class prenatally. Our class is taught by our lactation specialist, Margaret Summers. She does a great job with that class. It's definitely for moms that know they want to breastfeed, and it's for moms that have even any questions about that.
Now, in some cases, maybe in the past, there's been real pressure on a mother, like, we don't want you to give your baby formula. We want you to breastfeed. I mean, is that still like up there at the top, number one way to do it, or is it possible to make your choice?
Well, of course, we support any choice you make. We know from research that breastfeeding is by far a superior choice in terms of mom's health and baby's health. However, we understand that that's not necessarily going to work for every mom and for every baby, and we will support any decision that mom needs to make.
So
of course.
how do you help somebody like what John was talking about? They just can't seem to get things started or get things moving or whatever. How do you help them deal with that, especially after the baby's already come and you're attempting to do the right thing and you just can't?
Yeah, that's a great question. We know that most women can successfully breastfeed. However, because there's poor information, sometimes you get information that actually further exacerbates the problem. So anytime a mom is having any type of a difficulty with breastfeeding, any challenge whatsoever, whether that's pain, low milk supply, any concerns at all, we encourage her to see a lactation specialist like Margaret Summers, and moms that deliver at St. Pat's can come back and see her anytime that they're having troubles. They can call, they can come in and have an appointment with her and get some help. We are also starting up at the very beginning of October a weekly drop-in group where moms can just come in, dads too, and ask questions and get some support on anything related to baby care.
Now, is that specifically for those who have delivered there?
Correct.
Okay. And so that's all part of the deal where, I'm sorry, it's free, obviously.
Yes.
It's a drop-in class. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to come right back. 721-1290 is our number, 1-800-568. John's looking very thoughtful over there. If only! We're going to come right back. If you have any questions or comments, give us a call at 721-1290, and we'll be right back. It's Health Talk, and it's Monday, September the 14th, 2015. We missed Health Talk last week because of Labor Day. And speaking of labor, what a clever segue. Talking with Ange Anderson right now. She's the family birth educator at St. Patrick Hospital's Family Maternity Center. Now, You mentioned something during the break about a baby fair. What's that about?
Yes. So every year, the last 4 years, annual Missoula Baby Fair, and it's a fundraising event for the Mother's Milk Bank. So this is the one this year is going to be on the 26th, Saturday the 26th, from 10 to 2 p.m. Same day as homecoming parade, so it's right at Karis Park. It's an easy drop down, and this year St. Pat's will be one of the gold sponsors of that event. We will be there tabling. We have some really great prizes that we're raffling off, and welcome folks to come on down and check out the fair and come by the table and see us.
Now, when you say baby fair, I'm picturing like little horseyback rides. I mean, a face painting, but this is the little tiny little babies here, right?
It's an expo fair of everybody in town that provides resources and information for pregnancy, birth, and babies.
So tell me about that community a little bit. It's obviously a very large community, right?
Yeah.
And how you guys have entered into that now after 40 years.
Mm-hmm. It's been really wonderful. It's been a nice transition, and there's so many great things happening in the community for moms and for families, and it's really nice to be a part of that again.
Yeah, so that Mother's Milk Bank was a lifesaver for us because, as I had mentioned before, we couldn't produce milk.
Yeah.
And so literally supporting this group through the baby fair is a great way to help families like mine that can't feed their children but want to in a more natural way.
Yes.
Okay, so I've got a couple more questions I haven't asked you yet, and
Sure.
and one of them is that what's the best way that a couple can prepare for caring for their baby after it's born? Because as I mentioned at the outset of the show, you don't leave with an instruction book saying day 1 do this, day 2, and then when you get up to age 30, that's when it should probably be over.
I really, really encourage couples to take a class before that baby comes and to learn some of the basics. Although what's interesting is that the kinds of things that couples come and they want to learn about are the things you'll figure out pretty quickly. And so we've taken a lot of time in developing our newborn care class.
Like what's that smell?
Like how to change a diaper, right? You'll get that you'll get that quick.
Yeah.
Right. So what we wanted to do with our class is to give some of that, but also give a lot of the stuff that we know will be helpful, like how to read the subtle cues from your baby and how to recognize the needs before you hit the crying, and just to develop a good communication with your baby. And so that's something I'm really enjoying doing with couples.
Yeah, we also talked about the fact that your classes aren't just for natural birth, right? It's also for...
The childbirth preparation class is ideal for absolutely anybody who's pregnant. It's definitely a misconception that if you are not going to have a natural birth, that you don't need a class. And not the case. There are many, many ways that labor and birth can be stressful, pain being just one of them. And so we approach the class from the perspective of keeping stress low. We know when stress is low, labor goes better, birth goes better. It's a more positive experience. It's a more healthy, progressing experience. And so we work with couples, teaching them how to keep stress low throughout pregnancy and early labor. And also, again, letting them know what to expect in recovery. Depending on how birth goes, recovery is a continuum of experiences, and that's something that everybody needs to know about and be prepared for.
All right, so it's important for husbands to learn to have a little bit of compassion, because it's going to be a while before everything gets back to normal, and there could, like you said, be pain, discomfort. There's all sorts of things that everybody has to kind of be willing to give a little, right? Right.
So. It's definitely a family experience.
Yeah, okay. And for those guys out there that think, hey, we're going to go and have the surgery done. We're going to take care of it that way. It'll be easier on me. It's way harder. At least in our experience, when we had the surgery and, the C-section and all that and the drugs and everything, the recovery time was like twice as long, which meant Dad had to do most of the work when we got home.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So maybe it's better to learn the hard way, guys.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about we have like a minute and a half left of the program. So if folks are interested in being involved in all this, obviously it helps to be pregnant. now let me ask you this. What about couples who have just recently been married who are planning to have children someday, but they're not pregnant yet? Are these classes available to them?
At the time, the classes really are designed for prenatal, but certainly they can call, and we are always here for a resource. You can come anytime and take a tour of the facility, get to see what our unit looks like, and find out if that's going to be the right place for you when you do get pregnant. So,
and it's really cool because you guys have put together an amazing
beautiful
delivery center over there. We had a chance to tour it, had a chance to visit with some brand new moms the very first day. We had the new moms and the new dads, and it was so exciting. And especially when everything is so spanking new,
Yes.
So
yeah,
it's
it's
really
beautiful. Cool. Our next 6-week series starts up pretty soon, October 7th. We still have room in that class, and Saturday classes every month.
Okay, and how do we get in touch with you folks?
Yes, if you would like more information about our classes, you can call me directly. My number is 406-329-5348. And you can also get more information online at www.providence.org/St. Pat's Babies.
And this is Ange, A-N-G-E, right?
Correct.
Ange Anderson. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you, too. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming by. A fountain of information. We appreciate that. And that's going to do it for Health Talk. We'll do it again next week from our friends at Providence Health and Services, Western Montana.